I've got a little poem for you. Here's to the Statue of Liberty, that great big American whore. May our torch burn the balls off of Russia and slam his cock off in the door.
God damn. Savage.
Cold War.
Well, we're back.
Guess who's back?
Cold War. And it's going to be like, yeah, it's like The Odd Couple, right? So fucking, you have Vladimir Putin or some dude that looks like him and the freaking President Joe Biden, and they bump into each other like while they're backing in their doors. They're like, oh, they're playing, the fucking RoboCop game, the nuke game, and they're both like fucking trying to out-bowl each other, and it's like, dun-dun-dun-dun-dun, Cold War.
Matthew Broderick's in front of a computer.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, and returning in his starring role of Project X, the monkey. Chim Chim. Yeah, but they just get into these weird,
Wasn't
funny
he in
antics.
War Games? Was that Matthew Broderick?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
okay.
He was War Games, and then you remember Project X?
Of course, I saw that in the theater.
Yeah. It was a weird
Go
deal.
to Florida. That's where they took all the chimps.
Yeah. Oh no, they're gonna die in the simulators.
Simulators.
What the fuck was that? That was just weird.
That movie was pretty weird.
I know. Why? I mean, where does that come from? They're like, okay, I got a great fucking idea, guys.
Wait till you hear this one.
Wait. And I'm not going to be asking for 20 mil, okay? So just here we go. All right. Are your shoes tied on tight? Well, why? Because I'm going to knock your socks right the fuck through them. Let's do this. It's a chimp that falls in love with Matthew Broderick. Matthew Broderick falls in love with him. He's got to save him. Call it Project X.
Boom.
Are quite good. Attack warning. Is it for real? Attack warning is for bloody real.
Live from Colorado Springs, the Drop Culture Podcast.
Want to confirm, is this an exercise? Roger, copy. This is not an exercise.
Come on, quick, get down. 1, 2, 3.
Welcome, everybody, to the Dropped Culture Podcast. This is that podcast where we pick up that piece of pop culture you forgot about or missed, shine it up real nice, and cram it in your ear holes. I'm Dan.
I'm Brock.
And we are bringing you yet another installment of Droppin Deuces. And we've come at you hard with this run so far. We've had Exorcist 2. Highlander 2, The Quickening. What are we bringing this time, Brock?
Amityville Horror, or Amityville II The Possession.
The Possession.
Man, I don't think I saw this growing up. If I did, I don't fucking remember it because it was very unmemorable. But I think I watched it like the first time a couple of years ago.
Okay.
And I didn't remember it. But I knew I had seen it, not too long ago.
Sure.
So this wasn't the first time, if my memory serves me correct. Let me put on my thinking cap. But, wow. The Heretic 2 and Quickening, you got to put those in that top 10 worst movies of all time. No shit.
I'm going to put Highlander 2 right up there, dude. That movie was nuts.
That's number one right now until I find
Yeah,
another one to placehold it. Because that movie sucked balls. Like, really bad.
It really did.
That was a chopper sick balls. You know what I mean? It's this movie. What you're That's exactly the way I felt the whole way through it. I'm like, but I'm that was it. It was 2 movies in one. You added in every reference to demonic possession from the last 10 years into this movie, all the major ones.
Yeah.
And you retcon the first one. This one should not have been called Amityville 2.
Well, it was a prequel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it retconned even what happened in the Margot Kidder one too. Because they were all in bed whenever he went and shot everybody.
Okay.
This one, they were all, running around and shit.
Oh, gotcha. You're talking about, okay.
Yeah, because it's based on a true story, but then based on a book.
Okay, so first of all, it's not based on a true story. They came out and said, the owners, the people that started all that.
Okay,
said,
so the Warrens were
they
lying
were like,
too.
No, turns out we're full of shit.
Because they lived there for a long time.
Yeah.
Like 12 years or some shit like that.
So, yeah, they totally lied about it and made it all up. Probably one thing that's in all of that happened, and then they blew it up from there. And that's according to them. That came out, and I want to say the 90s or something like that, late 90s.
Well, shit, they're still talking about how Elaine Warren and her husband from The Conjuring went there and shit. You know what I mean? They even did the Conjuring 12 was about the devil made me do it. You know what I mean?
I don't know.
About that whole, because that trial was real.
Yeah, I didn't watch The Conjuring.
No.
Devil.
But did you see, the actual trial? They have footage.
What trial are we talking about?
Of the dude that killed his whole family.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
So...
No, I'm talking about nothing happened when that family moved in after the fact.
Yeah. So, yeah. But
the actual people that the story Amityville Horror was about.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That's fake.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the original...
But there was a murder that took place there, yes.
Yeah, it was the older teenage son shot everybody in their sleep.
Right.
Which is kind of fucked up.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the many things that this guy does that's pretty fucked up.
Yeah, that's... I do have to tell you that the whole movie was fucking cringy.
100%.
When it got to that part, I was like, what am I watching? Oh, my God. Holy shit. I was like, Burt Young must have had him whenever he was younger. And then, they were come from a different family altogether. And I was like, no, it wasn't.
Nope.
Not at all. Gross.
Yeah. We'll get there.
Fucking weird.
So the original Amityville Horror came out when, Brock?
Wasn't it like 77?
That sounds right.
Something like that. I'm pretty sure it was 77.
In this one, we get a solid 1982.
Ooh.
Is when Amityville II The Possession came out. Yeah.
Well, we're done with this episode. Thank you very much.
Was a movie.
It was 1979 Amityville Horror came out.
Okay. So this is 3 years later.
Yep. And that was with Margot Kidder and who is Thanos' dad?
Yeah, Brolin.
Yes.
Yeah.
With that magnificent fucking hair. My God.
He did have good hair.
Jesus. It was like you mix all the Bee Gees in one. And his hair was perfect. I'm like,
he looked more like a Fogelberg to me than he did.
He was a Dan Fogelberg type. It was beautiful, though. I mean, you got to admit, whatever Aquanet he had in there was like super badass, right?
Well, not the dad in this movie.
No.
So this is based on the story from the first one, basically, of the like you said, the
actual killing
coming in and killing the family.
Yeah.
And we know that it's a prequel. The only way you know this is a prequel is because of the sign in front of the the house for sale at the end. Is the same as the kind of sign they had at the beginning of the first one.
Gotcha.
And it was different at the beginning of this movie. It was like a big sign that he like came and knocked down himself because the dad in this one is Burt Young.
Oh my God. He's like
for those of you that just need somebody to jog your memory, think Rocky, Paulie.
Mm-hmm.
That's
100%
the thing you remember him from. But in this one, he is like, you thought he was terrible as Paulie.
Oh my God. He is, you know, I mean, with the crazy subject matter that they had in it, he didn't necessarily embrace that role, but he looked like he fit in it.
Oh no, 100%.
100%. Like
Either that or
all
he's
the
just
way.
like by nature just a shitty dad.
Yeah, right. I mean, they actually did look like they were a family. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He had to have had like some sort of military background because it kind of seems like that.
Well, because he does say something to the son about learn how to take orders.
Yeah, yeah. So it's like, okay. But automatically, as soon as they get there, they start really kind of going after each other. And he's a dick. Even the young or the middle girl, she's like, why is Dad going to be such a jerk? Shut up. He'll kick your ass.
Yeah, they obviously have some issues. Like so as the family pulls up, it's everybody gets out, you know. Are we going to go through the players first?
Yeah, let's go through the players. Yeah.
Okay. I was going to say, if we want to get into it, we can get into it. But
Well, of course, you got Burt Young is Anthony Montanelli or Montelli. That's what his name is. Okay, so he's the patriarch of the whole family. And then you got Rutanya Alda. She was the wife. You've seen her in a lot of different things. I really can't think of what else besides like Deer Hunter or something like that she's been in. You also had Jack Magner.
and he only did 2 movies, this and Firestarter.
Oh, okay, well that makes sense.
Yeah.
I would have quit too. You got Diane Franklin in her second Hollywood role where she shows her tits.
Yep.
And then you have,
What else was she in?
oh, she was in some like, you know, American Girl or something like that. I
Gotcha.
forget what it was. She was in Bill and Ted's because she was one of
She was the princess.
she was one of the princesses
Yeah,
there. Let's
that's
see
right.
here. Better Off Dead. She was the woman in that one.
She was the French girl.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. She was also in 2018, the Amityville Murders.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Nope. Don't want to know. The Last American Virgin. That's what it was.
Okay.
And then who else we got? The brother and sister duo that were playing brother and sister, the young ones. Erica and Brent Katz. I don't really think they did a lot, but if they didn't really see it. One guy that I noticed was Leonardo Cimino. He was the chancellor, right? So he was a big head.
Yeah.
And he was
He's been in a lot of stuff.
he's always in weird roles too.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember the movie that I remember him the most, which was just weird. I mean, he was in Hudson Hawk. He was in Waterworld, Monster Squad, scary German guy.
There you go.
That's the one. That's the one. He was in Dune. Dude's been in all kinds of stuff.
For sure.
He's almost like an Udo Kier. He shows up in your movie. You're like, yep, I made it.
Yep.
Yeah. V. So yeah, I mean, he was around. He was around.
Then we got James Olsen. He was the priest Adamansky.
Is it Adamski?
Hey, Adamski, yeah, whatever. The only thing other that I remember this guy from was Commando.
That's right. What was his name in there? General
Kirby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is General Kirby. Calling General Kirby on a SOS.
That's the only other thing I remember that dude from.
Honestly, yes.
Yeah, I'm sure
I
he
knew
was in
I'd
other
seen him.
things, but that's like when I saw him, I was like, Commando.
Yeah, I knew I'd seen him before.
Commando was a big part of my childhood.
Hell yeah, it was. Mine too. 100%. Like, who didn't want to be John Matrix? The line that always gets me is like, slitting a little girl's throat is like putting a nice warm knife to warm butter. What? Fucking stupid.
Why you dumb?
That's not the real Danny Aiello either.
Will the real Danny Aiello please stand up?
He's the third. Danny Aiello the third. And then
I'm gonna have a problem here.
Moses Gunn has been in a lot of different things.
Yeah.
He was a token black guy in this one, which is pretty much what he was. You know, they didn't really have a lot of color in this movie.
No.
Yeah, he was in Shaft. Last thing he did was in '93. Damn. But I do remember seeing him quite a bit. I mean, he was a good actor. He's a good actor, you know?
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much it. You know, I don't. There's nobody really else in the movie that you want to mention. I don't. In the director too, Damiani. Whatever. You know, I guess he was a French dude that went. Was it Italian or French? I don't know. I think
he's Italian.
Yeah. So he did a lot of movies up until 2001. I guess he must have passed away. Yeah. Not a lot of American movies.
He was considered the most American Italian director.
Oh. Way to go.
By somebody. That's what I read.
From Rome, Lazio, Italy. That's even crazy that they have 3 names for their city.
You know, you're not wrong.
And they also have 4 names. Okay, that's all I want to talk about.
What was the budget on this movie?
Oh shit, $5. No, it was $5 million.
Was it?
Yes, $5 million, and then it made 12.5.
Oh, so more than doubled its money.
Yes, and this was one of the Dino De Laurentiis.
Yes,
you know, which of course everybody knows Dino De Laurentiis. If you do watch movies or watch bad movies, you know his name's everywhere on that shit.
It's true.
Yeah, because he was very impactful in, of course, Commando's life.
Yeah.
So there you go. That is the cast. That is the principals. That is everything. Tommy Lee Wallace, I think, was probably about the only other big name that I remember because he wrote something else really big.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't recognize his name offhand.
Yeah, he wrote Halloween 3.
Oh, okay.
And they came out the same year. Bam. That's right.
There you go.
What was a better movie? Halloween 3.
That's probably debatable for some people.
I love that movie.
I like that movie too, but I'm just saying for some people that they're like, all right, screw your anthology idea, Mr. Carpenter.
Yeah, we're going to do this. It's that song.
Better yet, we're going to make Curse of Michael Myers.
Yes. He's a curse.
So first off, none of these movies are actually filmed in the original house, just so we're aware.
112 Ocean Drive.
You're right, but they're actually filmed in New Jersey rather than New York. This house, I guess they just have it on standby on retainer or something. I don't know. They just bought it. They're like, yeah, we're gonna. But no, because the original house somebody lives in now. And has for quite a while. And what's really cool is the original house is if you look at it on Google Maps, it's completely blurred.
Really?
Yeah, as if it were a military installation or something.
That's
I thought
weird.
That was interesting.
That's weird. Why would they do that? Just to that?
Because that's where the demons
Maybe
live.
the ghosts came out.
They're scared of the possession.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe. That's messed up. It's that colonial style house, that they have 3 stories. That house was massive.
Oh, 100%.
I would love to have a house.
Once again, just like in Trick or Treat, this kid gets an awesome bedroom. You know what I mean? I'm like, what? Who gets this giant room at the top of the house?
With its, it's literally like the top layer.
And it's always the oldest son. What are you, Mike Seaver up in this bitch?
No shit, right? I mean, he literally has his own bathroom, but his sister's across the hall. Yeah, his sister's up in the same deal. His oldest sister.
Yeah.
The younger ones are down.
Thank God his youngest kid sisters far away because
thank God they
real
were
weird.
Yeah, thank God they were young.
I will say, when we get to that part, that is the most uncomfortable part of this movie.
That is the most uncomfortable part of probably any movie. Honestly, it's one of there. It's
weird for sure.
I'm not going to bring up the Serbian film because I've never seen it and I never want to see it. But I just did. Not cool. The house is beautiful, awesome, great, has furniture in it, tables, You know, I mean, who leaves shit behind nowadays?
Furnished house, man. I mean, that was a thing back in the day.
Most of the time,
Because people got the hell out because people died all over the place. They're like, no, you can keep that shit.
Yeah, now whenever people move, they spray paint the walls. They're like, fuck you.
Some do.
Yeah. But so what is it there?
So we start out with them pulling up into the driveway, basically. And it's 2 cars. It's the mom driving one car and the dad driving another car. Right? And they get out.
Yeah, because dad's driving the station wagon.
Yeah.
Mom's driving the sedan.
And he asks where Sonny is.
Yeah, he's like, where is he? He was supposed to be with you. Oh, I don't know.
And then he pulls up in his little, whatever that car is.
Austin Healey?
Yeah, something. I'm like, where the hell? And he's like, the new car's great.
Yeah, like his dad just bought it for him. He's
exactly.
like, it's so great, Dad. The dude, like, was revving his engine, and I smoked him. And he's like,
And then he's like, where the hell were you? You were supposed to be behind your mom. I just stopped to get some cigarettes.
Smokes.
Yeah.
What do you think? You were all tough now? You're smoking and growing a little bit of this on your chin?
And it's so weird that it's Burt Young.
I know. I just see him being like, I'm so not, like, nobody loves me. I'm Polly.
Well, he would totally been Polly. This
Yeah,
is like
for
Polly.
real.
This is like Polly without Rocky in his life
And no sister.
and no sister. Yeah.
So
And
he
he
just
went
took
on
on
and
a
had his
family.
own family. Yeah.
Took on a family and then started beating them, too.
Yeah.
Fucked
Emotionally using them as emotional punching bags and physical.
Yeah, like Adrian was.
Yeah.
Oh, that was so. Even that part wherever he throws the turkey outside and grabs a leg. Yeah. It's so bad. It's so bad. But yeah, so they kind of get in their little skiffle. They're really going at each other's throats immediately.
There is no. I mean, this movie starts.
Yes.
Like right away. Like we get 20 minutes into the movie before there's a gun pulled on somebody.
Yeah. Because
maybe 30.
Yeah, because the first day they get there and they get everything set up. They're having their first family dinner.
Right.
But even the little kids are freaking acting crazy. Like one pulls a fork out on the other one.
Right.
And it's like, I'll kill you.
I know. And she blocks it.
Yeah. She's like, cha-cha. So that's not the most fucked up part about their whole little deal.
Right.
So, they put up the mirror. Burt Young. He's like sits down. They all start doing their prayer and everything, and then all of a sudden, like something.
It's him and the son putting the mirror up.
Yeah, everything's shaking. It's like.
It's because they're saying grace.
Right. So
they start saying grace, and that's when everything starts shaking. The mirror comes off the wall, lands on the silver that the sister just put down there.
First fucking thing that Burt Young does is get up and be like, "You son of a bitch!"
Yeah, like,
he's like, "Why are you always blaming everything on me, Dad? I didn't even put it up." And it was him that was actually doing the nail. He's like, "I didn't put the nail in."
Right.
So it's crazy because as soon as the movers show up, right, that's when we kind of get a taste of what's underneath.
Right.
Mom's downstairs, so she's kind of going through, I don't know, staring at the hymns on freaking sheets. I don't know what the hell she's doing.
Yeah.
And of course, she feels a weird presence. Then the mover comes down and is like, "Where you want this, ma'am?"
There's a door back here.
Hey.
No room back here.
And
he's like, "I'll check it out for you."
He stays there. That was the weirdest part, too. Like, literally, like, he's got shit dripping on him. Literal shit. There's flies everywhere. And he's like, And he's just like waving his hands, and the clumps of shit are just following all over him. It's just nasty poo. And he's like, and he comes out and
leaves the lantern in there. And I'm like, so now you have to go back in there?
Yeah, I know. No shit.
And once you see this thing a little bit later, and if you've seen the first movie, like, I'll wait till we get there. Get there.
So,
but yeah, he comes out. He's just covered in shit and whatever, and he's like, "Yeah, you got a problem back here.
You must have a busted pipe or something. Don't even go down there, man."
I would just block that off.
Well, he stepped in there in his boots, and he comes out, and he's all covered in poo, and he still has to walk upstairs and walk all over their house with poo on his shoes. So not cool. She gets freaked out, right? Like,
because she feels something like a presence after
The presence
mover leaves.
comes and stares at her, and then it's like, and that
And
whole
then it
time,
touches her.
yeah, she freaks out. But then her son comes in there. The oldest one is like, "Hey, what's up?"
And scares the shit out of her even more.
Right. And well, what he was bringing down to the basement was her husband's guns.
The mover?
Yeah.
Yes.
And you see the door to that little deal opened while her and her son were talking, and then one scene is down. And you're like, oh, okay, the presence, the spirits are there.
Yep.
So, yeah, there's at the dinner table, they all flip out, and she's like, stop it. We're going to have one meal in this house. Why is everybody at each other's throats? So you're automatically there. You know what I mean? And then we also get the brother-sister relationship kind of a deal where they're like, hey, she's in there posing for him, which is fucking weird.
Well, we don't get that yet.
Yeah, that's
Not
the
the
first
posing
thing.
part.
Yeah, because all the no, not that. No, she was doing like ballet dance.
Oh,
posing.
yeah. She's like in there.
She's like, oh, here, let's sit down. Let's get to know the place. And he makes some weird comment.
He starts telling a story about how, like, she was sad. The girl that lived here. And, like, she even says, there was a girl that lived here. And
she was in
sad.
love. Yeah, and she was sad.
Why was she sad? Because she was ugly like you.
Oh. And then she's like, what, you want some big boob girl?
And he's like, shut up.
He's like, you're not my type. We're brother and sister.
That makes us not our types.
Yes. Because he's pulling nails out of all the windows.
Right.
Because all the windows have been nailed shut.
Yes.
Okay.
Throughout the home.
Yeah, and not very good, I might add, because
You can just pull them out with your fingers.
yeah, Burt Young just walks up and he's
Yeah.
like, "Bing." But I guarantee you his hands are like freaking made of concrete. You know what I mean? His fingertips are like freaking, wrenches. He could probably grab a nut on the side of a freaking, diesel truck and be like, yeah. Like, damn. So
He's the unsilent majority.
yeah. So they go through all of this stuff. They're kind of getting this housewarming deal. The first night, he is like shaving, right? Because his dad was making fun of him. He's like, hey, go get some milk and rub that on there and let the cat lick it off. You know what I mean?
Right.
So he's literally in there with one of those mirrors that you pull out, right? So he's shaving. And this is cheesy as shit, too. Like he
When he walks out.
yeah, and the mirror's like,
comes back out.
You what? Why is it looking
Why
through the mirror?
Yeah, why it's invisible. So you can just poke your head around the corner.
Doesn't make sense.
Nope.
So I think he goes and tells his sister goodnight and everything. He lays down. And then, so all of a sudden everybody's asleep and the loud banging on the door. And it's loud too.
Yeah, real loud.
So they come downstairs and he's, putting on his
Burt Young.
Yeah, he's putting on his pants and everything. He's got his night shirt on and everything. And he opens the door and he's like, nobody here. So they're
And
like,
he's like,
yeah, yeah,
you got me.
yeah, I'll get you, you sons of bitches. So then he starts walking upstairs, right? Hears it again, but the first thing he does is grab a gun.
Yep.
And he goes out to the front and I see you. What? No, you don't.
Everybody always says that.
Yeah, I know where you're at. Oh. Okay, I'll come
You
out.
got me.
Yeah, I'll come out. Sorry. So again, right before that, the actual mirror gets covered in the sheet, doesn't it?
No.
That's after.
Yeah, and it's not the mirror.
Oh, it's the crucifix.
Yeah.
That's right. So, of course, they're still going into their
Or
night.
maybe that is that right here.
I think it was like right before that.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was after all of this.
I think during that, actually, because
Something like that.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
it might have been later.
it might have been later. Who knows?
So,
not the people doing an episode on it.
Yeah. So he's walking upstairs and he's still got a shotgun on him, right? Mm-hmm. Because all of a sudden he hears, the banging in the kids' room, but the brushes are like making this devil symbol.
Right.
Very,
They're
very
drawing like a creature.
Yeah, and it was like the creature that was in the first movie.
Right.
Something like that, right? And it's like die pigs and shit like that.
It said, dishonor thy family. And it's like in a cursive that obviously neither one of these children could write.
Beautiful.
And then on the side it says pigs.
What?
And
That's some
then-
Charlie Manson shit.
And then he's like, you fucking kids. What?
Well, he comes in there and he's like, huh, what was it? And they're like, I don't know, because the windows are banging. There's just so many
everything's going crazy.
uncontrollable crap, right? And then he just puts his shotgun down. He's concerned at first, and then just kind of puts it down, grabs his belt, and is like, watch out.
And she's like, no. And the mom's like, no.
Yeah, she's like, he can't even write. He can't spell. What about her? She did it. And he's like whipping the crap out of him, right? So she's like freaking out. And they're fighting too.
Well, she scratches the side of his face.
Well, she gets slapped.
Oh yeah, she gets slapped first.
I mean, he slaps her so hard it knocks her down
a couple times.
Yes.
But the first one, you're absolutely right, and that's when he goes after the kids.
Right.
And that's when she comes up behind him and gives him the old claw face.
Mm-hmm. So they're back in the kids' room, and guess who shows up? The oldest son shows up, and he's got the gun pointed straight at his neck,
against his neck.
Yes, like weird, like
and everything just stops.
The older daughter's there. The younger kids are there. Everything just whoop.
And that mom just walks around.
She walks right straight through him, grabs the gun and walks towards the camera. And you're like, damn. All of them are like, holy crap.
We're 30 minutes now into this movie where someone just about shot their dad.
Yes. I mean,
who is obviously a douchebag.
Yeah. Yeah. Something
he gets
really
worse as the movie goes on.
Right. So then the very next day or that weekend on Sunday, she goes to the church and she's talking to the preacher.
Yeah, they go to
and
church.
She's like, "Oh, I got 4
everybody
kids.
but Burt Young."
Yeah, he's a fucking homer. What does he do anyway? I mean, they don't ever talk about
exporter.
Yeah, yeah, he's in construction.
Right.
So literally, he's at home. She talks to the priest and is like, "Hey, could you bless our house for us?" Okay, yeah, I'd be happy to. Welcome to the church. So the next scene we see, he's knocking on the door and he's like, "Hey, I'm Father, McDoyle, something like that, right?" And Burt Young's like, "Well, what?" And he's like, "Okay." And he grabs his wife and he's like, "What is he doing here?"
Like,
she's
I
like,
don't go to church on Sunday, so you bring it here?
Yeah. What? And then he's like, "You smokes? You want to smoke?" And he's like, no thanks. So he's getting ready, and the pastor's in there, or the preacher's in there, and also the kids are there, and they're like, "Haha, you want me to get you something?"
Yeah, they're going to go get him a drink.
And she puts a bag over his head.
Yeah, she does.
Like literally, like,
and she's like, "This is like the movies."
Yeah, and he's like, "Stop it, I can't breathe." That's crazy.
That's 80s kids right
yes.
there.
That is like, here, sit in this trash bag. I'm going to tie it up. Weird, So then again, the father starts kind of, just kind of chilling and everything. All of a sudden it starts going off again. All the dishes fall. The refrigerator opens.
And those 2 little kids are just like holding each other, screaming in the middle. As you would.
Yes. Well, they're by the bar where the water was, right? Or by the sink. And Burt Young comes in there and he's like, "What the shit did you do, kids?" Starts slapping them.
Slaps that little girl.
Yeah. And like, how could they do that shit?
Right.
You know what I mean?
In that much time?
He's a ticking time bomb is what he is.
Yeah. He's just mad at the world.
Yeah, he's manly aggression.
Yeah, somebody peed in his oatmeal.
Yeah, career was really bad for him.
Nah.
So basically, he goes in there and starts swatting at him like flies. So and the preacher's like, "Don't hit the kids."
And that's when he goes off on the priest.
He's like, "You don't tell me how to run my family in my own house. Get out of here." Well, he doesn't say get out. The father's like, "You know what? I'm out. We'll do this again some other time." So, of course, mom begs him, and he's like, "No, we'll do this again. We'll talk later.
There'll be a better time."
Yeah, there'll be a better time for this. So he walks out. She's like flipping out, and she's like, "Listen, if you don't go to the church with me, I'm leaving."
Yeah, to apologize.
Right.
She's like, I'll not come home when I leave here tonight.
We're gone.
Yep.
We're not gonna do this anymore. So of course he loads up in the station wagon. They get all dressed for church and everything at night.
Weird.
Yeah. Sunday night.
And Sonny doesn't go because he's not feeling well.
He's not feeling well. Because the night before that, he has his Walkman on.
Yes.
And it's like, "Why didn't you pull the trigger?" what?
That's right.
He's like, huh? Because he's listening to, Duran Duran or some shit like that, right? And he's like, why didn't you do that? It's so...
I figured he was listening to that same band from Trick or Treat.
Yes, that would have been awesome. Fast Way. Well,
whatever the band was in the movie.
This is another, whatever you call it, like screw up. Because the Walkman wasn't invented or wasn't out for availability in 79 or whenever this one was set in was like supposed to be 77 or something.
Yeah.
So,
whatever. New York, my friend.
Yeah. I guess it came in Austin Healy. So, of course, this is where he gets possessed.
He starts hearing stuff. And then, so he goes and gets a gun.
He goes and gets a rifle with like a suppressor on it.
I know, and like loads that up. And I automatically, like, as soon as he decides to go through the door, when he sees the door to the other room, I'm like, you brought the wrong gun.
Yeah. Well, what is it? What is a gun going to do with the spirit? Nothing. Well, I mean, it's just more for protection. It's more for, because you're freaked out because you don't know really what it is. But yeah, whenever the thing's going after him and pulling the Evil Dead shit, where it's like following him up the stairs and he's like, oh, and then he shoots him upstairs, right? But it doesn't really kill anything.
Well, I think when he started out with the gun, he didn't have any idea that it was supernatural.
Right.
He's like, because he heard voices too, so he thought there were people inside there.
Yeah.
And he even tells him to come out.
Yeah, and they have like weird camera angles upside down, kind of going around.
Flipping over his head.
Right. So it's kind of like what it might have been like.
I actually kind of liked the way they did that. I
Right.
thought that, like, as him going up the stairs, like, it felt cramped and creepy. And,
Yes.
You know what I mean? So I thought he did really well at creating that feeling.
I think
The director, whoever he is.
Damiano Damalini.
Easy for you to say.
Damiano Damanini.
Killed my father, prepared to die.
So yeah, he ends up like shooting at the entity, right? Because it forces him upstairs and scares the shit out of him the whole time, right? So he's just like, what is going on, Then he gets thrown on the bed.
As you do.
And he gets demon raped.
In his mouth.
Yes. Which is weird.
Demon raped in the mouth.
And then
You sure do got a pretty mouth.
Demon's like, you got a pretty mouth, boy. So literally,
How did we
like,
make this movie grosser than it already is?
it's disgusting. We haven't even got to the most disgusting part.
Not yet.
So he's laying on the bed. The entity goes into him, and then he starts getting, like, I don't know, like brain damage. That movie,
Yeah.
where he's got his head's expanded and shit. It's like,
Well, I thought like the effects with his stomach and all that were
Yeah.
pretty cool. Like it was almost like contracting every muscle in his stomach. You know what I mean?
and the air bubbles under his arms.
Yeah.
The air bladder's just kind of pumping everything up, making it look weird, just like on his head too.
Yeah.
Because he was coming out looking like a John Merrick.
Yeah.
It was just weird, and that's whenever it would get the worst. Is whenever that would happen,
Right.
So of course, I guess they're home. She thought he was asleep. His sister.
Yeah, because come to find out, he had been asleep for hours because they had been home for hours.
It's been like it's like midnight or something like that. She's still combing her hair,
as
not
you
getting
do.
in trouble because
Right.
she's upstairs.
Right.
So he comes in. He's like, "Hey, what's up, beautiful?" She's like, "Shut up, whatever."
I think you're the most beautiful girl in the world.
He's like, "Hey, pose for me." What?
I'll be a famous photographer.
Let's play a game. I'm 18. I'm creepy, and you're my little sister. Gross.
So she does.
And she takes her clothes off.
And puts her hair up when he asks her to. And then they...
She doesn't feel it's uncomfortable at all either. It's like natural for her.
Yeah. Like, they seem kind of flirty anyways.
Yeah,
a little bit, which was kind of weird.
Maybe that was supposed to tie into this. Because I think in the original, really what happened, there was thoughts that there was incest going on.
Gotcha.
So, of course, he sleeps with his little sister, which is creepy as shit.
Yeah.
You know, it's gross, creepy, totally weird. Should not. I don't know why
Well,
they had to throw
luckily,
that
they
in.
don't show a lot of that. They just show her breastises when he
Yep.
Yeah.
He's kind of like boink.
All right. That's
And-
the button.
Yeah. But she even talks about how her mom.
Doesn't
She
want
could-
to have sex with her dad.
Yeah,
anymore.
she can hear them through the walls.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't think she likes dad that way anymore.
I think he forces her.
Yeah, which I think there was a big part that was cut out about
Yeah.
that, and more of
And
that.
you do
scene.
hear some of that conversation later from behind the door.
Yeah, it's pretty gross.
Yeah. Is the next scene that we get where she's in the confession?
Mm-hmm. She's like, he doesn't.
It's with my friend.
Yeah, and
I went all the way.
Yeah,
with
I've
my
never.
friend. Big long pause because she was about to say brother.
Yes, he doesn't do it because he loves me. He does it because he wants to hurt God or something like
Wants
that.
to hurt who? You?
God. Whoa.
You shouldn't say that.
I know, and she's like, I can't do this anymore, and she runs out, and of course he breaks like every rule in the whole
like,
Catholic
looks
book. Who is it?
Mm.
Oh, I know you.
Check on Trish later. Mhm.
Then it's his birthday,
Yeah.
and-
Sonny's birthday.
which is creepy too. So he's standing there staring at his family after he, goes
Yeah,
around
like-
the rounds, because he hugs his sister
So he hugs all the kids, like, and plays with, like, oh, I love you too, blah, 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 blah.
in a
Hugs
weird,
his
creepy
mom.
way. Yeah,
What's really creepy is when he hugs his sister that he boned last night or whatever.
yeah, or like
Or
2 days
2
before.
days ago, or who knows.
Honestly, probably many more times.
Yeah, it kind of seems that way. And then, like, the mom notices him move his hand on her back.
And knows how she's kind of flinching.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, whoa. She immediately sees it. He walks around the table. He gets a sweater.
Yeah. And
It's
puts
a
it
sweater.
Puts it over him like he's Yale
Yeah.
college guy.
Burt Young's like, me and the boys, we got together and we got you this gift. It's a sweater.
And then him and Burt Young hug.
Yeah. He starts like
And
kind
the
of
whole
crying.
family claps.
Yeah. But what? Like, we're finally back.
Everybody's back together. And then, okay, so here's my question. Seems like they just kind of moved there, right? Where the hell did all these people come from?
That was her family.
Yeah?
Yep. I think most of it was like their immediate family.
Okay.
It wasn't too far away. Like cousins and shit like that.
Gotcha, gotcha.
So,
I was like, man, they made friends quick.
well, the demon starts talking to him there too.
Yeah.
And the demon's like, look at all those people. They're so normal.
Oh, when he's looking at his, like, immediate family.
The whole family right there.
Yeah.
And they're
Very
all,
picturesque.
yeah, they're all like, kind of like Sears.
Pathetic.
Yeah, it was like a Sears and Roebuck photo.
Yeah.
So yeah, then he's like, everybody shows up, starts giving him gifts.
Well, doesn't he say something about him killing them then? And he smiles?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's
like,
kind of
yeah, you do. You want to kill them.
very sinister because he's got that, I'm looking up, but I'm at the
Looking
same level.
down.
Yeah. Weird. So he
I
goes
look up while I
upstairs.
look down. That's what I do.
yeah. So he's in his room in the rocking chair, but I'm crying because I love my dad.
Yeah, nobody got him anything but the sister, right?
I think so.
Here's a sweater.
Yeah.
The rest of your family's like, fuck off.
Here's a cake. Don't eat it all in one sitting. Save some for the rest of us.
Oh, and they use the joke candle on him,
yeah,
too.
the candle that won't go out. They're like, so yeah, they're all outside.
Except for him, he goes inside. He
He just walks up the stairs when everybody
nobody
shows
even
up.
says a word to him.
So he's just basically sitting in the rocking chair upstairs in his room, and they show that upper shot, looking down at his sister, and she looks up like, "Huh?" Like there's something else connecting them together.
And she heads inside.
She walks in. Mom notices and everything. She goes in there and she's like,
She slaps the shit out of her.
"Yeah, well, but that was after because she goes up there and
Oh,
she's
yeah,
like,
you're right.
do you not?"
He's like, I'm here. And he's like, so?
Yeah.
And she's like, you called me up here. And he goes, I changed my mind.
Yeah.
What?
So get away from me, you bitch.
And that's when he starts changing physically.
He has to
Right,
hide
and he
behind
has
the pillar.
Yeah. Like
'Cause it's-
all like the fly and shit.
Yeah, because he's turning into Brundlefly at that point.
Brundle demon.
Yeah, so she's walking down the stairs and her mom's like, you know what you did. And you're like, what are you talking about, Mom? That was gross.
With your brother.
Yes.
And then
that
she
was...
slaps the shit out of her.
And she runs away.
Yep.
So.
That poor girl.
I mean.
I can't imagine. Well, we'll get there. But this could have turned out way differently.
So.
Years of psychiatric bills. I'm just saying.
My God. See, this is where this turns into another movie.
Okay.
This is the turning point. Because
now he's like fully possessed?
It's weird because it's like this weird family dichotomy type of a deal. You didn't even have to have the fucking demon in it. It was just weird, fucked up family for the first hour. The second hour is the horror element of it, more of it. That's when basically he's like, I don't know, doesn't, like after the party, that's when he starts going on the killing rampage.
Yeah.
So he grabs a gun. He goes into Mom and Dad's room first.
Yep.
He shoots Dad. Mom's walking out of the place, and she gets shot in the stomach.
In the hallway, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And while she's walking away, older sister hadn't even got up. She's like asleep
Right.
or afraid or whatnot. And
yeah, she's kind of a shitty older sister, too, because she does not even care about those little kids. She just books it as soon as she sees him heading that way.
Right. Well, the little kids are in the room. He kicks the door through after he kills, Mom, or shoots Mom, comes across, and he shoots the little girl like twice.
Yeah.
Fucking crazy, right? That was another sick part of this movie that just outrageous that they did it.
Well, I think they're setting that tone. Like, I mean, this is what it is. This is, this guy's going to kill everybody.
So the little boy, you think he gets shot, but he doesn't.
Right.
You hear the second shot, and you see the girl's leg flop,
Doesn't he even, like, pick it up or kick it or something?
No, her leg just flops.
Okay.
It's like, bonk. So you're like, oh, that's the best acting so far. So
Burt Young does a great job as an asshole. I don't know what you're talking about. He's like the best shitty father ever.
Yeah, pretty much. He looks like that guy.
Yeah, he does.
Like he always is pulling up his pants.
Yeah, he looks like shitty dads in the 80s.
Yes.
Yeah.
No hair.
Yeah,
frizzy.
he was probably 45.
Yeah. He might have been 32 in that. No, that shit.
My 36-year-old birthday.
How's it going?
I got no hair and I'm overweight.
I'm Dad.
Want to smoke a cigar?
So he's chasing them throughout the house.
Mm-hmm.
Little boy's on the other side of the downstairs room because she goes immediately. She's like, I'm fucking out.
Out of here.
Runs down the stairs. He's put spikes, railroad spikes through the freaking door.
Yeah.
Did nobody hear that shit?
That's a little sus, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Through the whole thing, actually.
It's like you didn't hear that going through the wall? Which is weird. Because, what I thought was one of the creepiest parts, besides, everything that we've talked about so far, is whenever he's alone, right? And he looks down in the basement. He looks in the crawl space, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that arm is sticking out of the pillar. You don't notice it at first.
Yeah, no, yeah.
And then you're like, what? Whoa, what is that? Because it moves. And holy shit.
There's an arm there.
Yeah, so you kind of get that feeling of what is actually happening, right?
Yep.
So, of course, it's all like super weird, creepy. He finally gets the little boy, right? He shoots him. So his incestuous sister is like backing up, and he's got that weird look like, and he like just pins her to the floor, and then boom.
Yep.
And then the next thing you know, the father's coming up because the priest literally was like going on a camping trip.
Well, she had come in once, wanted to talk to him
And he was like,
about
nah.
coming to the birthday party.
Yeah.
And
He couldn't do it.
right, because he got a call that a parishioner was dying.
Yes, had a stroke.
Yes.
And so he's like, I'm out. And even the other priest comes in and is like, hey, don't we got to go camping?
Yeah.
He's like, no, I got to take care of one of my parishioners. They
And
just
then he
had
comes back, and the guy's like, let's go camping, and the phone rings. And he doesn't answer it.
And he's like, I got to answer this. And he's like, here, let me help you. And he just pulls it, puts it off the hook. He's like, damn, man. Savage. So the father wakes up from a dream like, oh, we got to go now.
Right.
And
he
he's like,
he doesn't really talk much.
No.
He just starts putting his stuff on. He's like, I'm leaving.
yeah. And the other priest is like, what's going on?
Right.
Let's go. You were having a crazy dream. Wake the fuck up. Let's go. Let's go.
You're not even awake.
No. And so they get into the freaking car. They're driving over there. And he's like, then he pulls the old fishtail because they're driving, 32.
Right.
For no reason. He gets out. It's like, I was their priest. And this is my friend. He's with me. And they're like, oh, okay. He gets stopped twice on the way there. Then they see the bodies getting pulled out.
Right. He starts giving them the old cross sign as they open them up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he sees the sister and everything. But then you start hearing the one that did it, the older son. Yeah. He's being held by two cops. And he's like, I don't remember. But they were nice enough to, let him put on his shoes.
Well, and they even told him,
pants.
it's okay. It's going to be all right,
A jacket.
As you're walking, we're walking or getting there, that's what we hear them saying.
Right.
So they're being cool, like maybe they don't know what happened exactly.
Yeah, they're like, hey, hang out.
Yeah.
Just don't run away.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, that shit don't fly. No. He would have been like pinned to the ground.
Remember, this was 1970 whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Even 1982.
And by the way, I just wanted to throw this out. Burt Young, 1982, was 42 years old.
Really?
So, yes.
That was 42?
Dude, that was 42 in 1982.
That's how fucking old I am.
You don't look like no Burt Young from
I
Amityville
don't.
Horror 2.
I do have bald, and my hair is kind of frizzy. I don't smoke no more, and I would never hit my family. So maybe I'm just the evolved version of Burt Young, because I'm always pulling up my pants.
Nice. You're the Burt Young of the podcast.
rather be him.
And he only says that stuff while you guys are listening. When we're off mic, he's always hitting me and stuff. It's terrible.
Well, shit. You're not too old to get a whipping. So
don't take off your belt again, Brock.
Don't do it. I'm going to leave this podcast. You do it. How dare you?
I can't quit you.
That's so bad because that shit happens all the time at podcasts. How many podcasts have broken up over the years? I mean, that's bad. So he's in jail, right? And home dude comes to visit him. And then he goes crazy on him.
You're talking about the priest?
Yeah, the priest comes in there and is like, hey, why don't you talk? Throws pictures at him. And he's like, hey, do this. Look at these people. Look who it is. And he's like, and he's like freaks out on him, right? So the guard comes in and is like, hey, better get off of him. And they handcuff him, right?
Right.
And then because his trial's coming up.
He talks to Moses, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, I want to do an exorcism in here.
Mm-hmm.
Or no, he wants to take him. He wants to take him to the church.
He wants to take him out because he did go visit the cardinal or whatnot,
right.
the head,
Cardinal
priest.
Richelieu.
Yeah. So, and he's like, hey, everything checks boxes. I need to do an exorcism. And he's like, whatever. You don't need to do shit.
Right.
I'll
ask the cardinal.
Yeah. Just don't do shit. Right. Don't touch nothing. So he goes in there and he tells the cop, I got to get him out of here. If we could take him to the church, I could do an exorcism. Everything will be cool. We'll get to find out because he wasn't under his own control.
Right.
This was just something extra.
Right.
So of course the head cop's like, dude, for real? No, he's not getting out. So of course, he gets. They kind of have more of the craziness because of the trial, right?
Well, and I want to tie something back to something we didn't mention. The reason the priest is completely bought in on this is for a couple reasons. One of them was when he was doing the cleansing of the house, he was doing his little maraca of water, holy water.
Yeah.
Whatever those are called.
Maracas.
And blood started flying out, and blood was everywhere, and him and the mom saw that.
Saw
together.
The same thing.
Right.
And he's like throwing up. Right. Yeah, he's throwing up blood too.
Yeah.
But then he comes out of the bathroom and he's like, oh, it's just water.
Everything's water.
But mom, the first day, turns on the tap and fucking blood pours out and she's screaming. Dad doesn't come running in.
Right. Until the water comes clear and then she like laughs it off.
She's like,
it's just rust.
That's weird.
Weirdos.
Get out.
Too bad we can't stay.
Yeah. Later, dudes. I don't like this place. So
The bitch is in the TV. Did you try to save her, Mr. Murphy?
Not really.
Yeah, I'm a man. I turned the channel. Shit didn't work. I got the fuck out.
No. Put it on 32. So, of course, he does. The kid gets put into the hospital, right? For something, you know. Because they tried to tell the church that he was possessed. Or tried to tell the judge. Judge is like,
I can't do this. He's kind of cool about it for as far as the judge goes. He's like, even if it were true, he goes, you know how many cases would be across the nation tomorrow? And like nobody would be held accountable for anything.
Saying the devil made me do it. And that's exactly what happened in real life. Because the very first person that was on that trial was like, I am not going to rule something like this. I'm not going to let you do this. I'm not going to be that one that does it later. So he bowed out, and then they brought in somebody else that actually let it happen. So, of course, you know, the priest is like, well, we got to get him out of here. And the cop's like, we can't do shit until the exorcist moment happens. Yeah. He's laying on the bed, and then it says, help me on his hand and in his arm.
Save
and
me.
Yeah.
And blood forms on his forearm.
It's like blood blisters. Mm-hmm. You know, like whenever you pinch your finger,
you pinch it?
You're like, ow, it's bloody. Mm-hmm. Ah. And you take a needle to it and everything. You know? Really bad rash. So
they make a topical cream for that.
So there, I mean, even the detective or whatnot, it's like, holy shit, I saw that.
Well, and that's when he's like, just club me in the back of the head and here, take this.
Yeah, he walks out. He walks out immediately to the guard that was there, and he's like, hey, follow me. You know, kind of.
I need you to go over there.
Yeah, and he's like, I need you to do this. And then he comes back in. He's like, okay, you don't got much time. Here, take this. Hit me right here. It's like, okay. So, of course, he knocks him out, right? Yeah. He doesn't take the gun, does he?
No.
Okay. No. So he grabs the kid.
By the way, the priest, kind of a big dude, too.
He's like 6'2", 6'3". Yeah. Very tall, you know, General Kirby.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, he had a trained Matrix later on. Right. You know, so they get outside the church. They walk up to the door, and the kid's like, whoa!
Starts just freaking out.
Knocks him over, sets like a fire barrier.
Well, yeah, first he hits him a few times while he's down.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, he walks away and then sets that fire barrier on the stairs.
Yeah, around the church. Mm-hmm. So the priest can't just walk around that shit. And you're like, nah, you know, I'll wait till it dies down. So he disappears. Where does he go? They live like 2 blocks away from the church. Yeah. Really, really, really close. The church is on like 972 Ocean Drive, and they're on 1112. You know what I mean? So very close.
There's a place on Ocean Avenue.
So he ends up being like, you know what? Mm-hmm. Because he does visit that house by himself at one point just to watch it. And he starts to kind of like...
Well, he starts to kind of like...
He knows something's going on.
And then that neighbor comes up and offers to give him a ride and all that.
Yeah, like while it's snowing, he's like...
Yeah, like he was in a trance.
Yeah, he was just like, what is going on? So he knows that there's something sinister going on. He goes over to the house and everything. And of course, he's there.
Well, because he knew that's where he would go, yeah.
In his own room. Yep. He didn't like go to the kitchen and get something to eat and shit, you know? He had
didn't go to the basement down. Though I do think what I was going to mention earlier, too, is when he goes into the basement and goes into that little area and you can see the gate and all that. Mm-hmm. And then he comes out. Not covered in shit, doesn't leave a track as he's walking through the thing. Somehow he floated on all the shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And all of the demons that are walking out too.
Mm-hmm. No shit.
No shit.
No shit. Just that moving guy.
Yeah. Just him. Yeah. Because they're like, dude, get out of here.
You're not even the main player in the story. Get out of here. The shit demon from Dogma.
Yeah. The Gilgothian.
Yes.
The bog of eternal stench. So, of course, they get upstairs and they get into their, you know, the power of Christ compels you moments.
Right.
Come into me.
Well, yeah. So first of all, he's like, "Say your name, bitch. Say your name." Not say my name. That's a different story. That's what he does with his sister. No.
Yeah.
Gross.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like it seems like it's working.
Yeah, but the demon's like, you're not qualified to do this.
Yeah, yeah, right.
Yeah. He's like, dude, for real, you're not qualified for this.
The Vatican didn't even sign off on this. And
you
he's
didn't
like,
even
"How
get
do you know
permission.
that?"
What?
We know everything.
Yeah. It's like, I am Legion. They don't really say what the demon's name is.
No, because he asked him like 7,000 times and we never get it.
Yeah.
So we don't get a Pazuzu or any of that kind of business.
Because in magic too, I think if there is somebody possessed, they always use that trope, and I don't know if it's real, that if you ask the demon while they're in a binding spell or something like that what their name is, they have to answer you.
Well, yeah, in magic, generally, if you know something's true name, then you have more control over it.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. So, of course, doesn't the he gets possessed too.
Well, so before we get to him being possessed too, basically he's doing all the Jesus is getting you, and like he's like, Jesus get me, and then he's like, all of a sudden out of nowhere he's like, let it be me.
Yeah.
Let it be me. Like,
yeah.
I felt like it was building up, like it was working. And then he was like, last minute, you know what? I'll just take it.
Yeah.
I got this.
I got this. Hand it over.
Give it to me.
I'm stronger. His head's exploding. and then the whole house like engulfs in flames. It's like, boom.
And then when Sonny pops up with the light behind him and the smoke, and he's like, and he's just fine.
Yeah.
Except now he's going to prison.
Yeah. For life. He's got no other choice because, of course, we don't know what happens to Father Adamski or Adamski or Skadooshi.
The main priest.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the other priest comes in.
Takes the boy down.
And he's like, get him out of here. Get him out of here now. And he does. And then we see in Father Adamski or whatever his name is, like he's got the bulging thing in his hand.
You start seeing it transform his
And then
hands.
he turns his head and you can see it in his neck.
He's got like a goiter.
Right. Yes. Apparently it gives you a bad case of the goiter.
The goiter.
Oh, I got the goiter.
I need some salt.
It moits a tear in the ass out of me. Sir, I would like to sue you and all of your people for punitive damages to my asshole.
But you never know what happens to him.
No, we never find out.
And then we see the sign. Up for sale.
So I assume he goes and lives in the basement for when those other people come.
Yeah, do you think he would like
dies.
go down to the Indian burial ground? Because don't they talk about that? Because he
They
meets
do
that
kind
neighbor
of at the beginning, right?
Well, no, the neighbor is like, "Hey, I work at the the courthouse,
Yeah.
and I got access to all this shit. You want to know about it?
I know, yeah. That's the one that gives him the ride.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's so convenient. It's like, oh, thank you very much,
She's like,
convenient character.
I thought this job would be boring when I took it 25 years ago.
Yeah, but it's not.
This is great. Let me show you all the stories.
Look at this. This happened there. And they're like, oh my God. So it was on a Indian burial ground or Native American?
Something, yeah.
Something like that. So
it was like Poltergeist.
Yeah.
A little bit.
So let's mix the three movies. Exorcist, Poltergeist, Amityville.
Let's make it a prequel.
Yes. Yeah. Let's turn it all. It did not deserve to be an Amityville movie. It could have been Haunted House.
Anything.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that, okay, so here's the only reason why I think that it was the right movie to be made. I'm not saying it was made correctly. But I like that it was telling the story that we heard in the first movie.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So there was already a reference to it.
Yep.
So, okay, that's cool. And, from the real story, like you said, there were those components to it, the incest, all of that stuff. So they tried to keep part of that, from the historical side of it as well, I think.
They poached a lot of good things out of it for the story.
Yeah.
And not good things in general, because that was just gross.
But
Yeah, a lot of things that would propel the story and make it really creepy and really bad. That's why I say it's 2 movies. Because the first part, until like right before he kills his whole family, that's just 1 movie. That's the lead up to that.
Okay.
And then it's like, oh, he's in jail, so let's have another hour. Okay. Well, you know he's possessed.
Another 45 minutes anyway.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And this is a 2-hour movie too, right?
Yeah.
It's just weird. It was just it could have been the haunted house movie, you know, Demon House something, a Blumhouse production, Demon Days. Not Amityville.
Well, I think that ties in with the story though.
It
You know what I
does.
mean? And really all you need for an Amityville movie is the house.
And they didn't even use the real house
No,
either.
no.
Yeah, so this was a different one.
They
like
didn't
you
use
said.
the real house in any of the movies
Yeah, because it was.
because they said no.
Yeah, they were like,
I think the county was or city or somebody was like, no, I don't think so.
nah, you're gonna go to
So
Georgia.
you're going to go to New Jersey. Yeah. You want to be in New York, you're going to New Jersey.
Yeah, sorry, got to go to Jersey. But you know,
It
if
wasn't
they
a good movie by any means.
Ugh.
I do not think it was the worst of the Deuces we've seen thus far.
no,
I would say different than The Exorcist, where we talked about how that was way more background for something nobody asked for, and totally invalidated the first movie.
and you could see that they were playing with a few concepts.
Right.
That again, if they would have not made that an Exorcist movie,
Right. No, 100%. 100%.
would have been really cool.
Then we get to the Highlander where it's like, hey, here's a story idea. Let's somehow make this a Highlander story.
Exactly.
Where this one I felt like, okay, the story is the actual piece of the story that we know. It's just now it's expanded on.
And embellished and just not right.
Yeah. But I think it lends more true than the other 2 movies to its franchise.
Yes. Yeah.
That's all
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
trying to
Okay.
say.
Yeah, because the first 2 movies could have been anything.
Right.
They could have called Highlander 2 like I don't know, the
Jim.
Immortals. You know.
Yeah. Alien Immortals.
Yes.
that have
Immortals.
nothing to do with the Highlander.
Yeah. You take out the Highlander characters. Cool.
Yeah.
It's still a shitty movie.
It's called Alien Immortals: The Bad Son.
Yes. Right. Right. Killer Sons. And then
Solar babies.
and then The Exorcist 2, The Heretic, did not need to be an Exorcist movie at all.
Again, the problem with that movie is, while it did some world building on that, it totally made what made the first movie scary not scary anymore.
Didn't need it.
No, didn't need it at all.
I like the idea of them doing brainwave shit.
Yeah.
No, not to talk to demons. You know.
John Borman just being like, I want to make a lighter Exorcist movie.
Let's fuck with everybody's minds. No, not
Well,
really.
wait, you want to make it a lighter fare for an Exorcist movie? That's why this movie didn't do well.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons.
And I don't know what was up with the time period of this too, because you remember when the priest in Exorcist is talking to the demon, and she's like wearing all the makeup and all that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you want to get with me?
Yeah.
Same in this movie when he sees Trish.
Mm-hmm.
The Sonny actually turns into her, and it's like, you were thinking about me and blah blah blah, and she's wearing all that gross ass makeup.
Right.
So in the 70s and 80s, they thought putting on a bunch of gross ass makeup made you hotter.
Yeah, but it made you look like you worked at a Old West saloon.
Or you were a clown.
Yes. Weird.
But it's just weird. That I thought that was strange in both those movies. That
Yeah.
was kind of like that.
That was kind of like, hey, let's doll them up.
Let's doll them up and have these adults really like these young girls.
Yeah, because they were both probably supposed to be around 16 years old.
Yeah.
Just This
I
movie.
think Reagan was 17, been that in Exorcist too?
I think that if they would have done it at the same time, but did it as a period piece, didn't try to update it. That's again where a lot of people.
What are we talking about?
This
movie?
Yeah, the Amityville,
Yeah.
where they just don't. They don't try to rewrite the original part of it. It's just like I was talking about with the Hulk. Why do you got to rewrite something? And I know you got to Hollywoodize a lot of things, and that's always going to happen.
Sure.
But the source material for so many things has been just screwed up.
Right.
For no reason. You have everything you need. I think that if a story or a script or something like that is great from the very beginning, you don't really fuck with it.
Right.
You shouldn't. You shouldn't have to, because it is great and you're like, I'm going to make this movie. You don't get it and you're like, you know what? I know better. What originally draws you to a script or something like that, I guess, is how original and how awesome and how cool it is. Why would you want to switch it up?
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
I do.
If it's good enough the first time, and yeah, you're gonna doctor some stuff up. You're gonna
MCU it a little bit.
Yeah, you're gonna change it. Well, no, not even that much. I think,
know. I'm joking.
Yeah, but I think you're gonna kind of massage some things, but not
To make it a palpable story,
right?
Because you have to.
Yeah, but do you with Amityville? You know?
Well, do you mean like for this story, for this movie?
No, it's creepy as hell the way it is.
What do you feel like they changed?
Well,
from the original storyboard, because I feel like there were no details in it that like I knew enough about, I guess. You know,
well, yeah.
So I think they were taking from general ideas of what happened and just, okay, well, let's work that into the story.
But they were adding like the exorcism bit. You know what I mean? Like, he was possessed, and that's what they were kind of saying.
Right.
Indian burial ground, everything like that, right? But they weren't doing it in a way that really kind of... They were just romanticizing it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Making it bigger than it really was. Now, if you did it in a more subtle kind of a way where you really don't even know what it is, but you do... Right. You know, just kind of like the original incident and everything like that. You're like, I don't know what the hell happened. Right. A little bit more ambiguous, yeah.
Sure.
Ambiguity. Then it's scarier.
Oh, I don't disagree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this movie could have been made a lot scarier. 100%. I don't necessarily think it's from taking fact and changing it or anything. Because, again, I just don't feel like maybe I had enough fact about the original stuff, because again, it like they tried to tie in the incest thing, they tried to tie in the the only thing, like, I feel like you said, like, that they got really wrong was like not everybody was in bed.
Yeah, no,
which probably made it more palpable and scary and tension building.
Of course, I mean, if say I was on there, the scarier part would be to have him just going level to level and everybody waking up but not really knowing what it is. The terror that you have before he gets to the door, so right. he basically goes downstairs, kills mom and dad. Boom, bed, sleep, don't even move. 2 little kids across the hall, they're freaked out, sitting in bed. He just walks in, bam, bam. And then the older girl comes down. I could see that.
Yeah.
That to me would be a little bit more frightening if there was more tense moments, because it would wake everybody up.
Oh,
the first shot would. Yeah. But if mom and dad first ones to go down, boom, boom.
Well, that's probably why he went that direction, I'm sure.
Correct.
Because dad's obviously had lots of guns and,
And dad is the biggest asshole.
Right.
So they're going to take him down, and mom doesn't deserve it. But yet she kind of kept him in that situation.
She had moments, too, where you're like, whew,
yeah,
this girl's flipped her lid.
And you know that being in a relationship like that, a lot of the times, it's not that you, like mom or the girlfriend or the boyfriend can't get away. It's like they just... They really can't.
They almost sustain off of the relationship, the bad relationship.
Yeah, correct.
I feel you.
And it's nobody's fault, except for the abuser,
right?
Which has total control in those situations. Someone like this, you prey upon feelings like that, the reality feelings,
right?
And I mean, they were sensationalized on a lot of things, and they were really kind of the terror of real life.
Sure.
Is way worse than seeing something say "save me" on his arm.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with that. And I think that that's kind of like what you were saying with the Tale of Two Movies.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there was intensity and drama in that first half.
Yes.
You know, like, again, 30 minutes in and we got a gun up to a dude's, dad's neck.
Right.
You know, so they were able to, I think, convey that in a way where it was almost a little anticlimactic after everyone's dead.
See, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It could have ended right there, and you didn't have to have the bladders in the face, doing weird shit. Yeah. You could have the looks, you could have the voices, you could have things like that in the subtleness of it, but not really have it like,
right?
What's going on? Like boiling the bathtub water or something stupid. Right. And then you kind of leave it. You're like, was he possessed? Did this really happen?
Right.
Yeah,
dude. If this movie wasn't made 40 years ago, 40 years ago.
Yeah. We're as old as Burt Young. And this movie was made about the time he was technically born.
But yeah, I think that you could definitely go a different route and make this a better movie for sure.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But then, how I was talking shit about how movies aren't really campy and cheesy anymore. This one wasn't campy and cheesy.
Oh, no.
But the thing is like, you could remake this movie now if you have a good script and you have a good narrative, you have a good, like, I don't know, something. And I know they've redone this movie like 3 times.
Oh, yeah.
Just like so much. I mean, it's everywhere.
This particular movie?
I think Amityville. Well, just Amityville,
Amityville,
the original story.
Yeah, I feel like recently, didn't they have like an Amityville Murders or something?
Yeah.
I didn't watch any of that.
I think they had like 7 or 8 different movies.
Yeah.
Plus the one about the Warrens.
That went to Amityville?
Right. Yeah. And we're in the house with the weird chair.
Yeah.
So yeah. I mean, it's like there is there's a good way to do a lot of things, and this way just wasn't it. The last 3 movies that we watched, could have been done way better, but they all came out within a 5-year period of each other, didn't they? 1977 was The Heretic.
Right.
When was Highlander was in the 90s. Never mind.
Like 91, I think.
Yeah.
And then this one was 82.
Yeah. So you had the horror movies that were 5 years apart.
Right.
And then you have 1990 where it was like MTV presents Highlander with the monkeys. So, yes. I can't say that I would really recommend this movie.
I would say if I were recommending something in our Deuce run, this would probably be the one I'd recommend for someone to watch. Like,
of this run?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Just because I couldn't imagine recommending somebody to watch Exorcist 2, not without a whole lot of conversation first. Like, here's like the things you'll glean out of it that are good and have nothing to do with The Exorcist.
Yeah.
Don't watch this movie because it's going to ruin the first one for you. Same with Highlander.
Yes.
Same with Highlander.
100%.
This movie does not ruin the Amityville horror movie.
No, not at all. Not at all. The first one was different. It wasn't great, and it didn't really get into it. It was like a Jaws type of a deal.
Yeah. And Roger Ebert, I think, actually said that this movie was better than the first one. Because it took a lot of the same stuff and made it better.
Yeah.
You know?
I could see that, and I could see at the time.
Money and you have some things.
And you spread it out, and the narrative just wasn't cohesive, I guess.
I think when I think of like 82, like the movies that, the horror movies that were out, like, it was few and far between the ones that like
were good.
Completely good. You know what I mean? Especially with special effects and all that good stuff. You know what I mean? At
this point, we had Halloween 1 and Halloween 2, so the slasher genre really hadn't taken off too big. We had The Burning, which was about the same time too, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. Friday the 13th, things like that, right?
Beast Within.
Yes. So you have a lot of those that were right there before we got to...
When did we get American Werewolf in London?
Oh, shit.
It was right around this time
Yeah,
too.
yeah, and so was Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
And Friday the 13th really started taking off here.
I
But
think
this
Nightmare
was,
on Elm Street was a couple years later.
yeah,
Yeah, a few years later.
Friday the 13th, they were on part 4.
Were they in 82?
Maybe. They were like a Black Sabbath album, you know? They came out
One a
every
year.
every 6 months. They were like running on silent movie times.
Does that make Ozzy Jason's mom? And Dio Jason?
Yes. He was the first one. And he actually did bite a head off of something.
There you go.
Missing a head. There you go, Ozzy. Killer Mommy. Yeah, I don't recommend this movie for anybody. Never. I would never want to sit in a triple feature with these.
Oh, God, no. No.
Unless I was
You'd just be covered in shit.
oh my God. If
How
I
can you
could,
tell he's a king? Well, he's not covered in shit, is he?
it would just, I'd have to be so stoned. And like, I would have to be taking like gravity bong hits, you know, before the movie with like the most potent weed that you could ever get. So I would be done coughing by the time the freaking credits would stop. And then I'd be like, whoa, this movie sucks ass. And then at the end of the next movie, gravity bong hit. Start throwing up and shit just to get through it. This one, I will tell you, I didn't watch that much as The Heretic or Highlander.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, I think I really like the way that we do our stuff because it does give me a chance to really dive into a movie.
Sure.
And if I can watch it 2 times all the way through, that's just fine. Yeah. But if I have it on to just catch weird things, yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, but no, I give it 1 Amityville house out of 4. Maybe not even 1.
I'll give it 1.5 balloon loans on your Amityville home.
Yes, yeah. This is a
Reverse mortgage.
Yeah. I give it a reverse mortgage on 112 Ocean View Drive. Yeah.
That so that is the turd installment of our Droppin Deuces.
See what you did there?
That was a
good
stretch.
Yes.
But come back next week when we close out our deuces. We're gonna pinch it off.
Yes. Yes.
While we can.
This is going to be like if we went on the freaking tea and honey or the honey and lemon diet.
Yes. Yeah. Check back on our quick cast to hear about that grossness.
Whoa. Yes. Yeah. The next one's going to be really bad too.
So, yeah. And then we got some different stuff coming up right after that. So we'll not spoil any of that. Just some different subjects. But yeah, let us know what you think. You can do that at dropculture.com. You can send us an email at dropculturepodcast@gmail.com. You can hit us up on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You can send smoke signals because it's wet out there right now and snow covered, so we're all right. No fires. We wouldn't have to worry about that. Yeah.
It'll be good.
Yeah, whatever you need to do.
Yeah.
But let us know what you think. Let us know if you're a big fan of the Amityville II The Possession.
And why.
Yeah, and tell us what we missed that made it awesome in the first place. And with that, I think, Brock, we're out of here.
We're out. Goodbye.
Peace.
Yeah,
How long was that?
Hour and 30.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Nice tight one.
We didn't really need long on that one. No. We didn't need to talk that much shit about this one. Because it was just horrible. I could talk.